Welcome YouTube to Pawn Man. My name's Evan Kale, and I own a gold and silver business. If you guys have never seen the show, this is an educational program about my job. It's an entertaining program. It's my job both to educate you how this business works and keep you entertained along the way. I have no idea what's gonna walk through that door. It could be anything from a lost treasure of history to an old coin. We'll see. So strap in and prepare yourself, because this is Pawn Man.
So, this could all be for nothing, but I just am curious.
Sure, yeah.
First of all, let me go through the stuff I don't even know if it's in.
Okay.
Get that out.
We'll find out.
Yeah. I think this stuff is, but
This is a little too shiny
That's not
and
silver.
heavy.
I can tell it's not silver. It's plated.
It is,
that's
so
what
I
I
wonder.
thought.
We'll still buy it.
It's cool.
But
Okay.
those
Buy
are-
one. Yeah, it's
That's an old
definitely
cigarette
silver.
holder from the
Oh, that's
70s, 60s.
very cool.
This is Tiffany Company.
Oh, it's a little baby rattle. Wow.
These are like expensive gifts.
This one's plated.
Yeah.
That's plated?
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell by the surface finish.
Okay. It's a cigarette holder.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So,
Yeah.
from where?
From Japan.
Oh, I've never seen Japanese silver plate.
Me neither.
You know, the other problem with this stuff is like nobody uses it anymore.
I know.
Like young people don't want it.
I know.
Older people don't really use it.
I know,
It's like kind of like a bygone treasure.
totally.
Too much.
Right, but I certainly wouldn't wear them the way that they look. I would reset something. Okay, so 2,500 for these two.
Yep.
They aren't very sizable diamonds, but the tanzanite is a good size.
Okay.
So I would say 300 for those, or 350. 350.
Okay.
What do you think? Are you familiar with tanzanite?
no, but that seems like a fair price.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a charm bracelet.
I don't think it is. Just feeling it,
Okay.
and it's usually stamped. But I'll so I'll do. Put that on the scale. 34 grams. You got 600 bucks right here.
Okay.
So when I get pearls like this,
Yeah.
the gold is right here. It's a tiny amount of gold, and
Yeah.
the rest of it is, shall we say, out of style.
Yeah.
So let me just double check. This
Yeah.
looks like real gold. I can feel it. I'm gonna just do an acid test to be sure.
Yeah.
Basically, just do this as like a guesstimation. Okay. I'm gonna factor this as 1.5 grams. Call it 75.
$75? Okay.
The problem with these is all the gold's in in this part, and there's movement too. I'd be at 600 on this.
Okay, let's put that in. Let's do that with this.
The gold hue on this one is suspect. This one I can tell just by looking at it is genuine. I'll test them both for fun, but this one might be plated. You got $225 in the pair of these.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Have a great day. Appreciate it.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
So we bought all the scrap jewelry here. We're gonna go through it. Some of the stuff is pretty nice. I don't want to melt down, but like I'm gonna throw this in the smelter for sure. A couple cheap coins, nothing great. Some kind of silver plate crap. We got this cool like antique cigarette smoker. This might be like a $100 item. I got a Tiffany Company pen, an antique pen. This is a couple $100. Some more scrap gold. This is a 14 karat watch. We got some David Yurman earrings. These are expensive. So I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna figure out what's getting smelted and what we're keeping. Yeah, these are the Somali ones.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard that the warlords in Somalia are using these as currency to, do terrible things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a couple other of these. I bought these at melt price at the old shop, maybe, I probably bought these in like December or like November, and then this Somalian guy came in and told me like how hot these are in the secondhand market and like what they're being used for.
Take that one.
You want this one?
Sure.
Go. Yeah, I'll do a good price, 45.
Thanks, boss. Have a great day. I'll see you again soon.
I'll see you again. Thanks for
Real
coming by.
soon. Yeah, yeah.
He is a customer from the old store, and won't be going back there. Cocksuckers. Well, that was a great deal, and now I'm gonna go through the pieces of the deal and pick out what I'm gonna melt down and what I'm gonna keep and what I'm gonna like put on eBay. I'll tell you, these pieces right here, this like Cruella de Vil cigarette smoker dealy thing, I forget what these are called, And this Tiffany company pen, I'm gonna shine these up and I'm gonna clean them up and get them ready to put them on eBay because I'm gonna ask big money on eBay. Well, not big money, but like, I don't know, this Tiffany company pen, I bet it will go for like $100 to $150. And the cigarette smoker, I bet I can get at least 60 bucks on it. So all I'm gonna do is just put some silver tarnish remover on them, just shine them up so they look like they're new. If these were like vintage, very expensive antiques, you would not wanna do this. If you restore a vintage antique, but you do it yourself and you apply chemicals to it, you can ruin stuff. I've seen people on Antiques Roadshow, like they'll bring in a Tiffany lamp that could have been worth $15,000, $20,000, but because they attempted to shine it up with some over-the-counter chemicals, they completely ruined the collectability. In a way, it's kind of like cars. I don't know if you guys know anything about cars, I'm a big car guy, and when you have a vintage original car, you wanna keep it as vintage and original as possible. You wanna keep all the pieces in it the same. You don't want like an aftermarket stereo, or you don't wanna do anything if you're restoring the car to, you know, over restore it. So with these though, it's okay, and frankly, it's gonna give me more money to shine them up. So let's clean them up. All right, so we'll just take a little silver tarnish remover, put on this little rag, take the Cruella de Vil lighter thingy deal, and just very lightly rub out that tarnish. You guys can see, tarnish is pretty dirty. So when I was an Uber driver, I would be stranded quite a lot, or like I would just get stuck in the fucking far bound suburbs, and like, you know, I'd sit for like in my car for like an hour or two, like waiting for the next ride, and it would be very sparse, so I'd just be sitting there and I'd be smoking pot. And one day, I don't know what the hell happened, but I was very high, and I'm sitting in my car and I'm talking to myself, and I started talking all like this, and I created this whole fucking character called Bushwhacker Bill. He's like a lovely Australian man who came home one day. His wife was Shayla, and he opened up the door, and while he was at work, he found Shayla was in bed with another man. And old Bill had himself a mental breakdown, and he took the kitchen knife and he went back to his Shayla, and he stabbed his Shayla, and he stabbed the bomb, and he took the bodies, and he went to the outback, and now he's living in the Australian outback. He's a sex offender. Yeah, so this character, Bushwhacker Bill, was a normal man in Australia, and he caught his wife cheating on him, and he suffered a complete mental break from reality, and he killed her, and he killed the guy that she was cheating on him with, and he took their bodies, and he ran away to the Australian outback, where he became a complete maniacal, lunatic, murdering, sex offending psycho, like the villain from Wolf Creek meets Crocodile Dundee. Straight up, I've been in like situations where like it's getting a little dicey. I'm like walking late at night in an alley, and like I'll like be, you know, walking up to like a couple people that are like, you know, I don't want them to mug me, so I'll just say, ragging it off, pissing it off. People fuck right off when you do that. Yeah, so look at that. This was literally unrecognizable, all the design, before I shined it up. If this was like a lost artifact of history, it would have completely ruined the collectability value, but I think I have enhanced the saleability possibility. Saleability possibility? The possibility of me selling it.
So, all paper coins, those things fascinated me.
That's
A lot of that is
fractional notes here. This one's, yeah. When it's ripped in half like this, it's,
no good.
well, I'll still buy it. I'll buy anything. I
Okay.
don't know how much I can offer you for it. So I got a stack of currency right here, but it's very, very, very circulated. And just looking at it, I can see it's mostly from the common years. So I'm gonna just add up the face value and then tack on an extra value to it. It's the easiest way to do this. Plus 135, $939. Anything else? Perfect, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, so I went through all these coins that I bought. There were no key dates, unfortunately. I bought at 16.9 times face value, and they melt at 20.1, so there's a decent margin there. But these tokens that I bought are pretty cool. These are Minneapolis St. Paul transportation tokens. I'll probably get 10 bucks on this lot here. This one's from 1916. I'm gonna ask $20 just on this one token. And then I have these 5 Missouri sales tax tokens. They're made from plastic. Put these up for like 15. So I think I paid like 5 or 10 bucks for all of them, and somewhere in the neighborhood of 50. What's the motto? Say it. A profit's a profit. It's gonna be on my headstone, which conveniently I can get right next door because that guy makes tombstones. But he'd give me a great discount. Just sold this Byzantine 14 karat bracelet I bought as part of that larger deal. I basically sold it to him for the melt value, plus 10 bucks. Michigan Precious Metals is pretty big on social media, and this is my first time doing business with them, so I was happy to just cut him a deal. So we got this piece sold. The rest of it I'm gonna probably have smelted down, but yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be doing the smelting for about a week, so it's good to just get some money out right away on it. So I'm probably making about 120, 130 bucks on this. Not bad. In my safe room here. So I did not want to get this part on film because this gentleman is private and I'm going to just respect his privacy, but I have somebody who wants 3 100-ounce bars and I don't have them. So we're going to go make a little house call and go pick them up. So I got to pay cash for these. It's the only thing. All right, you got 5 grand. You got 7,500. You got 8,500. 9,500. That's the thing with this business is there's so much like wheeling and dealing. Seriously, if I wanted to, I could just go trade this guy for this gold that I bought, but it's a little bit messier to do that. And frankly, it's like kind of a headache with accounting, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just do straight cash. All right, off I go. I shall return. Into the fucking sweltering heat. Holy shit, is it hot. It's like 95 degrees right now. Into the pawn mobile. Boom, in and out, got the silver. Let's take a look at it. Ohio Precious Metals, 0.9995. I shouldn't feed into haters, but I just got one of those comments calling me a thief. I posted a video of breaking down that gold deal that I did, and somebody's like, so what you're saying is you totally ripped this person off. Great job, is your name Trump? I shouldn't feed into it, like I said, but it just fucking fries me how obtuse people are. Like, I'm running a business. Of course I buy for low and sell for high. Do you have any idea how a business works? I want to know what this person's idea of a business is, because I make it very clear that I am a business and I'm doing a business thing. Like, hey, this is my job. This is what I do. Oh, people are so stupid sometimes. There's just no help for people. I keep getting the question exactly how much gold is in this watch that I bought, and there's only one way to find out. So let's destroy this watch and find out. It weighs 47 grams with the movement, and there's only one way to figure out exactly how much weight is in it. Watch this. Tough little bastard. There we go. There goes the not gold part. So this is gold, and this is gold. Oh, that's fabulous. 42.6 times 0.585. So it's 24.9 grams of gold. And goddamn, there's almost an ounce of gold in there. Times 60.25. Melts at $1,500. I paid $600 for it. That is a fabulous profit. Honestly, I'm surprised. I'm surprised that the movement only was 5 grams. I thought it would be at least 13. So what a good find this was. All right, now it is time for me to say thank you to, oh, here's Juliet. Say thank you to my Patreons, because I need to do some payouts. If you guys become a, if you guys are a Patreon, I do payouts to my Patreons. I give you guys gifts. The more you give, the more you get. I mean, obviously it's not lucrative because I need the money for the show, but I've been doing payouts like every 3 months for my lower tier Patreons, and I got about 4 people I gotta send gifts to. So let's build some gift packages. The magic of gifts. So to these Patreons give me $10 a month, but it's been 3 months. So I'm gonna give them a little silver, a couple silver certificates, a couple loose Buffalo nickels, NFL football card, and signed copies. If you guys are curious about my books, you can just go on Amazon, type my name in, and you can read the first couple chapters for free on all of them. This one's about Nazi hunters. There's like an elite unit of Jewish American soldiers in the 1950s, and they find out that Hitler and like a lot of the Nazi high command are still alive and hiding out in a jungle stronghold, like deep in the jungles of the rainforest. So they airdrop in, and it's like a Bin Laden style raid. And of course, now I'm gonna make a comedy TikTok because that's my other online persona. Here's one. You guys, I am so excited. I'm starting a Yelp type service that reviews people's ability to give anal. It's called Yelp! And they said I wouldn't amount to anything in life. All right, so for the informative part of this episode, we are going to be talking about fractional currency, which is something that not a lot of people know ever existed. That's right, at one point in time in United States history, they made change, spare change, dimes, quarters, 50-cent pieces, and bill notes. So we're covering this because I just bought some of these, as you guys saw in this episode, and I think they're very cool. They can be very expensive when they're uncirculated. These ones are not very expensive. These are kind of some more common ones. But it's just a very interesting piece of United States history, and I just think they're very cool. So, okay. So fractional currency, also known as shin plasters, were kind of made popularized, well, not kind of, they were made popularized during the American Civil War. See, the American Civil War caused a massive coin shortage, kind of like the pandemic, and, well, for different reasons, but. So what happened was, during the American Civil War, the Confederacy wanted to be recognized legitimately as being a sovereign power, and they wanted Britain and France to recognize them. So they were sending envoys to Britain and France, trying to pressure them to recognize their sovereignty, and kind of hoping that their cotton industry was going to be the push. You know, they're trying to bully Britain and France with their cotton industry to recognize them, because that would be a legitimate, like, that'd be a huge blow to the Union to be, you know, have these states that seceded be recognized by major foreign powers as being its own country. So they were sending these envoys to Britain and France, and in 1861, the Trent Affair happened. What happened was, two envoys on their way to Britain were stopped by a Union ship. They were on a British sovereign ship, you know, like I said, they were envoys going to make a diplomatic mission to Britain, and the Union intercepted the ship and arrested these two Confederates. And Britain was fucking livid that the ship was stopped. They called it illegal. They called the seizure of these two Confederate envoys an illegal arrest. They were really pissed. They threatened to cut off salt to the US, because Britain had salt mines all over the world, and the US imported a lot of salt from Britain. So it almost pushed the Union and Britain into another war. And if you can imagine, this is something historians like to think about, just imagine if Britain had declared war on the Union and teamed up with the Confederacy, you know, or just made aggression against the Union. The Union would have been fighting on two fronts, probably would have lost the Civil War. So, pretty crazy implications. Anyway, so this Trent Affair really creates such a kerfuffle because Britain is so pissed that, you know, they start doing these reactionary economic moves to punish the Union for doing this, and it causes the stock market to crash. The banks vote 25-15 to stop taking specie payment, or, like, you know, you walk in with a note, you can redeem it for bullion, gold or silver. This is why we had a coin shortage. Banks stopped doing that for the most part. There were a couple that still did, but for the most part, this completely stopped, and again, it created a coin shortage because your notes couldn't be redeemed for currency. And as a result of that, they had to make these fractional notes because there just wasn't enough coinage going around. They had to issue these paper notes. So one thing the Fed started doing was issuing greenbacks, what we know today as, you know, fiat money, money that's not really backed by anything. That's how all of our currency in the United States is today. They're all greenbacks. There's no more gold certificates or silver certificates, but there used to be. You know, you used to be able to redeem, you know, you get like a gold certificate or a silver certificate, and you can bring that into the bank, that note, and get the denomination in gold back to you. So you have the physical bullion itself. But now you don't. Now you get these greenbacks that are, well, they're not worth anything. I mean, they're worth the promise of the government, but they're not backed by anything, and you can't redeem it for anything. You can spend it in the economy that you're in, but you can't really redeem it. So this caused massive panic, as you might imagine. Gold rose 9% over the dollar amount. Let's say you had a $20 gold certificate. The price of gold is gonna be 9% higher than that $20. So that was a huge premium spike, and that, again, set off a lot of economic panic. The Fed was posed with a bit of a challenge. See, they didn't really know how, like, when all this shit happened, it happened quick, and they didn't know, you know, what to do. There were all kinds of different suggestions to how to facilitate this currency shortage or this coin shortage, because, like, you know, you got to remember, back in the day, things weren't very expensive. Most of the money that people used were coins. Things didn't really cost $1. That was kind of a lot of money back then. Workers would make $2, $3, $4 a week. So some ideas that people had, potentially cutting currency notes in half to make up for the shortage, but that created a problem because it was legitimately illegal in a lot of states, and, you know, you can't have people actively breaking the law because you have this economic problem. They proposed reintroducing the Spanish real as currency just to facilitate the coin shortage. That got rejected because it's like, yeah, fuck, we're the United States. We shouldn't be using another country's currency. We had moved past that. The Spanish real was legal tender until, I want to say 1849, the mid 1800s. But by getting off of that, by demonetizing that within the United States, that was a big step economically for us, because that allowed us to say, well, you know, we are so strong, we don't need the Spanish real. We don't need the coin of the world. We have our coins. The treasurer, Francis E. Spinner, had a solution. And that solution was postage stamps, because you used to be able to get postage stamps that had fractional values, a cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, etc., printed on currency paper, signed by him. So this solution, postal currency as it was known, ran from August of 1862 to May of 1863, but it was an imperfect solution because, I mean, number one, the guy had to sign all of them himself. Can you imagine sitting there just signing currency notes all day? It's like, I have other things to do. I'm the Treasury Secretary. I can't just sit here and sign these all day. It was a quick fix. It wasn't a great solution. The solution was these fractional currency notes. Another reason why these were introduced is the postal notes, the postal currency, wasn't easy to fake, but it wasn't terribly complicated. And these are hard to fake. There were all kinds of counterfeiting measures that were put into these that the postal currency didn't have. For one, these are more colorful. There's watermarks. There's silk fibers within them. Like if you look at the back, you can see these like little hashes here. These, I mean, this is done as a counterfeiting measure. If you ever see like an old bill with like a ton of like multicolored like hash marks in it, that's just an anti-counterfeiting measure. So these were harder to counterfeit. This was a good solution. This kind of fixed the economic problem, and luckily the Union turned the tides of the war and was able to kick some ass and reclaim some economic stability. So these fractional notes lasted until 1876. They were never terribly popular. Like people just like coins, or like they liked having the bullion itself. So in 1876, Congress authorized fractional silver coins, you know, things like dimes, quarters, $dollars, things like we know today, although ours today are not made of silver. Most of the fractional notes that you are going to come across they're not terribly expensive. Most of the ones that I see are in worn down condition, like this 50-cent fractional note from, God, this is so worn down, I can't even read the date. Most of the ones you're gonna see are gonna be in like this kind of condition, where they're just heavily worn down. I got this on eBay for 60. I'd take $30 on this thing. $10 to $50 range is what you're gonna be spending to get fractional currency. If it's uncirculated, then we're talking big money. But I've literally never seen an uncirculated fractional currency note. And interestingly, the Confederacy also had fractional currency notes, but that's its own can of worms. But yeah, so briefly, in the 1860s and 70s, the United States issued fractional currency notes because of an economic problem, and, well, a lot of people don't know that we had fractional notes at one point in time. And that's the magic of fractional currency. I hope you learned something. Well guys, it is the end of the day and the end of the episode. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share my videos, I could use some more views. If you guys want to become a Pawn Man Patreon, $1 a month helps, and you get to watch Pawn Man early. I send an unlisted video link to all my Patreons before the episode comes out. I've also got books on Amazon. Type in my name, they'll come up, and shit. I will see you guys back here for another episode of Pawn Man. Later, guys.